Fishing trips anywhere, anytime. FishingBooker.com.
Welcome to the Habitat Podcast, the podcast for wildlife habitat management, hunting strategy, and land stewardship. And now, your host, Jared Van Hees.
Welcome to the Habitat Podcast.
I'm your host, Jared Van Hees, and we are here to become better habitat managers. What is going on, everybody? Happy Friday. We have a great episode for you here today. We have myself, we have Andy from the Deer Camp Podcast. We have Jake Bollinger. He's been on before, good old Michigan boy, turning his 80 acres from farm to habitat. Call it the Altered 80. And last but not least, Mr. Tomechko of Vitalized Seed. Guys, we talk about what we've been up to lately, spring habitat projects, what we still have to do yet before the spring is done. We talk about spring planting, being ready for that, getting your stuff, getting it in hand, and the temps are almost here. We also talk about turkey hunting. We talk about the bucks we have left from last year that we're going after this fall. And it's just a good old habitat discussion here in the spring. So thanks for tuning in once again to the Habitat Podcast, another episode this week. I recorded a great episode this morning with my friend Bobby, which you'll hear next week. And a good friend of mine, Sean, coming on as well. So we have episodes in the bank for you guys. Great habitat discussions. Tomorrow, I will be heading to the Northern 70. I have 8 more Morse Nursery apple trees to plant. Get those in the ground. I have some switchgrass I'm going to get down if it all works out with the downburst cedar. My quad is a flat tire. I got to get that fixed. I put a new battery in it last weekend, or I should say 2 weeks ago. And then I have to cut the heck out of the road, as you're going to hear in the podcast, down to the food plots to be able to plant Nitro Boost yet this spring. I do want to say thanks for everybody who's been leaving us great reviews on iTunes. We really appreciate you. Thanks for all the support with our partners. I was out at the 40 today, the HP 40, doing some of the cleanup after my last hinge cut session and tree felling session in a bedding area. I'm expanding kill plots, expanding food plots. When I started, it was 100% 40 acres of wooded low ground. So I have stumps everywhere. I have brush and limbs everywhere you can imagine what I'm dealing with. I got out there today with a grapple, did a bunch of cleanup in about an hour, and had to get to basketball practice. So we're turning it on, guys. We're going to keep coming with the content. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be back here next week with another episode of the Habitat Podcast.
Have you guys used a Packer Max cultipacker yet? I know that being the first partner of the Habitat Podcast, I've been using one for over 5 years now. Guys, cultipacking is one of the highest rated and highly overlooked part of your food plot system. It helps maintain soil moisture, keeps it in the soil, improves seed to soil contact when you press those seeds into the dirt, and ensures superior seed germination for all seed types. I do not plant a food plot without cultipacking. Guys, Packer Max and Lincoln over there, great company, great people. They have 5 different cultipackers available at packermax.com, and they also have a roller crimper combo attachment for the Packer Max. So that's what I use. I can crimp, I can pack, I can do everything with my Packer Max crimper combo. They even came out with a 6-foot unit at packermax.com. Guys, be sure to utilize this piece of equipment when you're planting food plots to get the best success in your seed germination. Check them out, packermax.com. We have a code HPC25 at checkout to save money.
This week, we have a crew. It is a habitat crew of guys. We're missing one. Tomechko is going to be a little late, but we've got Mr. Jared Van Hees of the Habitat Podcast, and we have Mr. Jake Bollinger of the Altered 80. What's up, boys?
Not much. What's happening?
Howdy.
Oh, not much, man. Just kids just went down to bed and sitting down here for some reason having a cup of coffee, because apparently I don't want to sleep tonight, and talking with you boys. What's going on?
You know how many times I've done that before a podcast? Slam a cup of coffee.
Dude, I was dying, man. I was like, I'm sitting up there. I got like tears in my eyes. I'm so tired. I'm like, I'm gonna have some coffee, and then one cup went to three. So we'll see. Maybe I'll just go to work.
I hear you there, man. Doing good. I'm about as exhausted as you are. But my 5 o'clock energy drink, I think, just kicked in. So
Nice.
yeah, I've been chasing kids around outside, getting yard work done, worked all day. Did a lamb plan this morning. So burning the candle, buddy. Good to see you. Good to see you both.
Yeah, heck yeah. What about you, Jake? How you been, my friend?
Doing good, man. Just slowly chipping away at projects, and of course, balancing getting stuff done around the farm and around the yard, getting that ready for spring. Of course, mowing season's getting close, so picking up sticks. That's what I've been doing the last few days.
Oh, the job that never ends.
Never ends.
So, Jared, you're heading up north this weekend. What's on your agenda up there?
Yeah, good question. First of all, a cabin deep clean. After the winter and deer camp and the dog, and it's just time to scrub that place down. So we're gonna do that. We adopted a road up there that the cabin's on,
Cool.
so we're gonna clean that. This will be about a year since we did that, so I think it's good to teach the kids a little bit of humility and get them out there picking up everybody else's crap. And then if I get time, I'll make time. I'm going to plant 8 more apple trees, which will make it maybe 225 trees this year total in between both farms. And then I need to cut more trees to get down the road to the 70. I don't know if I'll get to that or not. Hopefully I do, but if not, that'll be when you and all the boys come up. We're gonna go to wreak havoc on all the broken off timber on the 70. So lots to do.
Yeah, man. Dude, I was blown away when we were up there, a week or two ago, and just how bad that was, man. It was crazy. You can sit there on your deck and just see nothing but snap trees for miles.
That's crazy.
Dude, it's something I'd never seen before. It was crazy.
They compare it to a Category 5 hurricane in terms of damage. At least the linemen do. These linemen travel all over the country for they get paid triple time or whatever on these big jobs, so they'll go wherever. And they said it was that's what it was compared to. So
Wow.
It's a mess. But Mother Nature opened up the canopy, so I expect that to be pretty good.
What was it? Big Bucks 2027.
There you go.
Lots of food on the ground. How about you, Jake? How's all the projects coming good for you?
Yeah. For the most part, everything's been on par, except for I'm a little behind on spraying, getting a few things prepped and ready to go. But plans kind of changed this late winter, so I kind of shifted some things around and I've been getting some things going. I've been putting in some hybrid willow cuttings, a pile of gray dogwood cuttings, a few red osier cuttings. Cutting a lot of birch out, just same thing, letting that canopy get opened up. I don't have a ton of trees in my swamp, so kind of being pretty selective on what I'm taking.
Nice. I have too many
Jake,
trees.
I still
ahead,
have
sorry.
all the willow cuttings you'd ever want, buddy. If you want to come over.
Okay, I will take you up on that for sure. I will load up my truck then, because I'm building the wall.
I love it.
Yeah.
So
I will
when you're
take
doing
you
the
up.
willows, what are you guys doing with them? You're just putting them in the ground for cover, or are they for food?
Mine personally is to make a wall, a thicket on a property line that I have some issues with fence sitters and cutting shooting lanes and stuff like that, and for my access to block off. But that's what I'm using them for right now, and then eventually I'll definitely start scattering them around for some browse and stuff like that if I get a chance to have that many cuttings.
Okay. How fast do they grow?
Oh, so
I've had
I guess it depends on the soil, right, and your conditions. I mean, like some of the little cuttings, like the tiny cuttings I put in last year that were maybe 2 foot long, 3 foot long, size of a pencil, or this spring are, I don't know, 5 or 6 feet tall. They haven't grown a ton of branches, but they definitely put on a lot of height, and they're not in optimal conditions where I'm putting them. They don't have full sun. It's broken up sun, so I'm sure they do even better, in places where you get full sun.
Gotcha. What do you think, Jared? What's you got a bunch behind your house, right?
Yeah, Jake's spot on. I'm also planning them for a wall for a screen and just to soak up some of the water. If you plant enough of them, they'll eat up little water holes, wet spots.
Really?
Yep. And what I'm doing is the same thing. I'm cutting them a little bit longer because I have a bunch behind my house that I grew in pots and then planted. They're they're 40 foot tall within 5 years.
Oh, really? Okay.
And that's dry ground. That's not, I don't even water them anymore. But now I'm putting them in standing water. So they're gonna be able to just go, and deer don't browse them like they would a dog would or something. So it's just more cover for me, more cover, more screening.
How do you think they do in beach sand?
One way to find out.
That's
Yeah.
right. Well, I think it's going to be an experiment then for next year. We're going to plant some in Hutchie's Beach.
I mean, you
No,
keep it wet enough,
no water
it'll-
though, just Hutchie's Beach.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you water them, it'll probably sprout some roots.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
if you pot them first as well,
Yeah.
just for a summer, and water them behind your house, you can spray them all real quick,
Mhm.
and then put them in the next year. They're pretty hardy, and then I think that's I've had more success with potted in drier conditions. So
Okay, that makes sense.
Definitely. Yep, definitely.
So, Jake, you've got some. Did you say the farmer is done or whatever at your place?
Yep. He decided he wanted to downsize and kind of cut back what he was farming. He's got some grandkids and stuff he's spending a lot of time with, and decided instead of farming the little bit of ground that I was gonna have left for him, I don't know, 12 acres, something like that, 15 acres, just he let it go. So I was like, well, here we go. Here's 12 or 15 more acres to play with, and the wife and I are getting into beekeeping, so we're gonna plant
cool.
quite a bit of flowers, and wildflowers and prairies and stuff like that. So even more ground to play with.
Are you going to try to keep it semi-open then with like flowering stuff like that for now, or are
I'll
you
buy
going
the
to try to?
house. Yeah, I'll buy the house. Just so that way, wife gets to look at them, we get to cut them or whatever and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm still going to build a switchgrass screen wall to block off the vast majority of the back half of the property, back 3/4 of the property.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've got that behind my house, but my wife said specifically no letting it grow in. So we're she wants to see the deer too. I said, but I want to see him from out back. But yeah. So you out of seed yet?
Nope, not yet. Still got a little bit left. Yep. It's been a little bit slower start to the season, but I think it's getting to be that time. A lot of farmers are tilling ground, so people are getting out there and getting after it.
Do you have leaves out at your down there for you guys?
Oh yeah,
All right.
everything's froze up on my end. You guys there?
Yeah, I can hear you
Yeah,
guys.
your
Video.
videos froze up, Jake, but we're hearing you loud
Yeah,
and
we can hear you
clear.
just fine.
Oh yeah,
And,
yep. I'm leafed out down here for almost everything. I mean, there's still a few trees that haven't pushed out yet, but definitely
Right.
greening up quick.
Yeah. I thought the aerial wildlife guys were going to come this week, but I guess they're going to come next week. And I was like, man, I hope that
I lose you
the full
completely.
the foliage. No, we got you, Jake. We can hear you. We can't see you, but we can hear you. Oh, look who we got, Mr. Tomechko. How are you, Al?
I'm good, buddy. Sorry, guys. Having kids and plans don't always go together perfectly. So, I know you all are well aware, but hopefully I'll be here for a little bit, and I look forward to chatting with you all.
Heck yeah, well, we look forward for having you on and talking a little bit of habitat and everything else that goes along with it. What have you been up to, man?
Well, getting ready for planting, really. I mean, we've been really busy at Vitalize, obviously. Personally, I do a lot of timber work at RCS contracts and stuff like that. So I've been running a saw quite a bit, pulled a few soil samples. Been testing some new stuff as always, making sure that's working. And I'm doing a ton of soil tests right now. I got like 20 on my desk, like right here. So I'm doing a lot of soil test evaluations right now. Just got off the phone actually with another customer who's actually a farmer in Michigan who we're working with. He's also a deer hunter, but also a farmer, and was on the phone with him and then jumped on here. So we're pretty much running wide open right now, boys. Pretty much wide open.
Right. When are you going to start planning?
I plant the same year or same time, excuse me, every year. And I plant right around middle of May. So May 12th to 16th. I have said, and I'm sure somebody else said it far before me, but I like to use the term letting the cover crop work for you. So it's very exciting to kind of be like, oh, soil's warming up. I want to get out there. And you certainly can. And I've done both. I've done tests. And I've just never seen a huge advantage of planting for deer. If we were talking about soybeans or something, for yield, maybe we'd be having a different discussion. But for deer, I've never seen some huge benefit for the soil and or for biomass creation by planting a couple weeks earlier. What I have seen is a benefit by waiting till middle of May in my area, southeastern Ohio. Really good weed suppression, and I would say equal to, if not even a little bit better growth in a shorter growing window, assuming you get some good rain and stuff. I think primarily because of allowing that carbon load to get out of the ground, sequester all those nutrients, acts as a good weed barrier. You have more above ground biomass that's going to break down rapidly and feed that nitro boost versus, the frost risk, potentially weed competition if you drill in too early. You don't have the weed mat coverage, et cetera. So I'm pretty set in my ways now after trying a few different times of planting early. I'm pretty set on planting most of my acres that middle of May. The only
Okay,
caveat to that is if I have a field that's just really poor, like I have one or two that I'm trying to build up, and I'll use like our annual clover. I've got a couple videos I did on that I've put in, allowing that to green up in with the carbon load. And if I had the drill hooked up and I planted tomorrow, I would be okay with that. But I'd probably then plant it again in the middle of May or 1st of June, just because in those really heavily degraded soils, if you're looking to just add biomass and high deer density and things, you can, maybe do something unique like that. So I don't want to talk in an absolute, but in general, 95% of my acres will be planted in nitro boost middle of May.
so if we're talking like my farm, I should be planting every day until May, the middle of May, you think?
You could just every time you're going across the field, you could just have that drill down or have that broadcast spin around the back and be putting seed down. And all joking aside, that actually stemmed that I'm going to do the guy a disservice, but there was a regenerative agriculture farmer, I believe out of Australia, and he had come up with that. And basically, he was like every time he went across his pastures, he wasn't trying to grow deer, but every time he was trying to go across his pastures, he was drilling more diversity and more and more and more. And the idea was just like constantly having fresh roots and new roots, and other plants would be dying or get killed from the drill. And it was just constantly cycling. And then he'd graze it and then he'd drill it again. And it was just this constant thing. So again, I didn't make up that theory, but I've certainly seen pretty good results from using that over the years, if and when it fits your budget or time or whatnot.
Heck yeah. What about you guys? What are you guys thinking for planting times? Jared, Jake?
I'll go first. I can't get to the fields at the 70, so that's out of the question. Down here, I have a mulcher coming in about 3 weeks. If that doesn't change, so I'll be planting late, just because the mulcher is gonna, clean up all the stumps in my plot, grind them all down. So there's no point in me seeding it to have him run it all over and grind it, it all up. So nitro boost will be a little light this year, but just because of my circumstances. Otherwise, I would wait for another probably week to 2 weeks as well. I don't really care to be the first guy on the ground. I go more off a good rain. So
Okay. Do you think you're going to be able to even plant the 70 this spring, or do you think that's kind of?
I don't know.
I mean, are we gonna hump a bunch of bags down on our backs down there and do a party and take bag seeders and go spread that whole thing?
We might, but I would love to pack it in and drag it in or something, or pack it in, or crimp it in. I'm sorry. So, if not, like Al said, let the cover crop work for you, and I'll have some of that stuff going for me in the meantime. But as soon as I can get down there, I may plant late and just see what I can get down. But either way, I'll be amending the soil with some of our other stuff we're testing and trying to work on that for fall.
Okay. Jake, what about you, buddy?
I'm still at least a couple weeks out. I got a couple of alfalfa spots that I'm killing off, so that will take a little while before that's fully killed off and ready for me to get into that. So generally that last week in May, early June is about the latest I like to go.
Okay.
Same thing though. Got to have good rain right before I'm doing it. I play it off of that. So if I have to be a little bit early, I'll be a little bit earlier than that. A little bit later, I'll be a little later.
Right on. What's new at Vitalize, guys?
Well, I don't know. I mean, a lot of stuff's new. Our website's new. I think a lot of stuff seems new to people, although we've had it for a while. The seed feed has done unbelievable this year, which is our natural fertility coating. So we have seed armor, which we decided to add with our products, because we just felt like if somebody's going to be using our product, we want them to have the best chance, right? And that's a proprietary blend of a broad spectrum rhizobium, in conjunction with um, a humic acid. So that we've put in with our nitro boost and carbon load, I think since our first fall, but it might have been after the first year. So we've done it for 2 or 3 years now. That's inside the bag, and then of course we sell it individually because a lot of people buy it separately for whatever they're planting, right? And that makes sure that not only your legumes are going to have the right bacteria to fix nitrogen, but then also your other species are going to benefit from that humic acid coating. So that's one thing that we've been doing for a while. The seed feed, on the other hand, has been one that we've been testing and using for a while, but I don't think people really understood. It's happening in ag for a long time. People have been using seed coatings. It's just kind of newer to the food plot space. I actually don't know of anybody that was doing it prior to us, although again, there probably was somebody, but I wasn't aware of that. So we had started doing that. Honestly, I was using it on tomato starts and things, and that's a fertility product. It's all organic nutrients, so you're not going to have to worry about it rushing out of the soil. But the idea there is most soils, you look at a lot of soil tests and like say phosphorus for talking purposes is low on most people's soil tests. So what do most people do? They go buy a bag of triple 13 and they throw it on top. Well, as you learn more about soil science and soil agronomy, you'll find that in no-till systems, particularly, throwing phosphorus on top, that's okay if it's a build program over, say, a decade. But other than that, if you're not worried about where that phosphorus is going to be in 10 years and you're wanting to use that phosphorus this year, this growing season, you really need to get it on the seed or into the furrow. And most guys aren't set up to run in furrow, liquid phosphorus or 2x2 and, banding it on in a food plot space. Certainly there are some, and that there's other great options for that as well, in conjunction to something like seed feed. So as we've done and grown, we've talked to more people and people are trying our seed feed and they're really liking it. So you're putting the nutrients, the N, P, K, calcium, humics right on the seed. When that young seed, it's just a little bit of dust. You're not trying to, hit numbers on a soil test here. You're just trying to get a little bit of that powder coating, and you can tell the seed will look grayish, brownish after it's coated. You get a rain, that first rain, like we're all talking about, first dew, that seed starts to jump, and now you have that little pool of nutrients right around that seed. It's simply a starter to get those seeds off to a good start. And other than just putting, say, like a humic or something, or a molasses or something like that would just act as a biostimulant, there might be some benefit to that. We actually put nutrients in that little packet, and that's why you see such good results. So that's taken off for us. Another one that we've had for a couple of years now, but I think more and more people are getting educated on it, is the mycorrhizal fungi seed inoculant. Some of that's education that we're attempting to do through various channels. Some of that's just education, I think, at the macro level of both food plotting as well as agriculture, right? I mean, there's been an unequivocal amount of science now that is pushing towards mycorrhizal fungi inoculation in seed coatings, in foliars, et cetera. Most will say the most efficient way, if you cannot put it directly on a root, so in a transplant, let's say, is on a seed. Every testing I've seen. Now, maybe there's something out there that shows differently, but there's several. The John Kempf Regenerative Agriculture podcast, I think that's what it's called, the Regen Ag podcast. He recently had a couple different people on there who were agronomists who were talking about how they have found the best thing to do, even in row crop agriculture. They're putting mycorrhizal fungi inoculants on there. We have a really good one. It's Tanio Spectrum plus Myco. 10 ounces covers up to an acre. Honestly, I think you could probably get away more with that if you're using it as a seed coat. So one of the things with these type of products is you have to kind of, we use their recommendation, which says an acre, but that's also that 10 ounces could be in water and could be sprayed on foliarly. So it's one of those, just eyeball it, especially if you're using a bag spread, you're like, I don't want too much dust. put it on there, mix it. If you feel like you got good coating, don't throw the stuff away. Just put it in your sprayer and then spray the rest on, or simply save it for next time. Cool, dry place tends to be pretty good. But mycorrhizal fungi is just critically important. We could do a whole podcast on that, but that's something, again, that's been selling really, really well this year. And again, it's not new per se, but it's new in the sense of how well it's selling compared to years past. And I think people are just kind of getting used to, oh man, if I'm going to do this, I might as well give my seeds the best opportunity to get off to a good start. As far as new goes, I probably said this in the beginning, but we added a new website chat feature. That's been fantastic. We added bundles. So again, a lot of guys are like, what should I do for my soil? Putting everything in one packet. Here's the fish fertilizer. Here's, seed feed. Here's seed armor. Here's our vitalized micro. Buy it all in one package. You save, right? We added bulk pricing. So we got a lot of guys, just had a guy in Louisiana, and he's like, I want to buy 20 acres worth of seed, right? So instead of having to make it difficult, do individual quotes, it's like, hey, go on there, put in your order. It's already factored in. We're shipping to you. Like, just trying to make it easier for the customer as well. And it's more efficient for Vitalize too. I'm not trying to hide that, right? We want to be efficient because that way I can have calls and Jared can have calls with customers. Like I just was on one prior to this call, as I mentioned, because that's really important. Then we added new products. So we added an annual clover mix. We added a brassica mix. And we added a premium clover plus, which is a chicory and clover mix. So we've done that in conjunction with doing some bundles. Like we have the clover 1-2 bundle. That's our clover chicory oats mix. And then you get a package of the clover mix in conjunction with it. And that's a really nice thing because if you go on our website and read it, it walks you through. You use the clover chicory oats as your nurse crop, and then save that 6-pound bag and then use that the following planting. So if you plant it in the spring, then in the fall, overseed that area with that 6-pound, and you'll have a really lush clover next spring. If you start in the fall, then save it and use that for either a spring or a frost seeding, the following. So we've done a lot of unique things that way. The annual clover, I love it. I think it's going to do, we're selling it pretty well. I think it'll do really well this fall. We have a bundle where it's kind of for those who are like, I love the carbon load, but I still like that traditional brassica plot, right? So they can do a brassica and an annual clover. We sell a fall food plot bundle. You get both of those together. That's 12 pounds of seed, free shipping, and I think it's like under $80. So, it's pretty good deal.
What will that cover? Will that cover an acre or half an acre?
At least, yeah. Because you're looking at that's 6 pounds of brassicas, which is like a relatively heavy brassica seeding rate for an acre. It's right in the ballpark, right? Anywhere from 4.5 to say 8, depending on the brassica makeup, is typical. But then if you're adding the annual clovers in, if you're going to do both, I would say that would cover an acre pretty healthily. Again, deer densities and soil fertility and all that plays in. But how I'm using the annual clover, and I think is really going to catch on, is those areas like I've done a lot of videos on it. I call it, the cabin plot. It's behind the house there, and it's super degraded. It was 50-year-old red pine. I drilled in carbon load. I've only been able to put a little bit of lime down. The pH was in the 4s. And we have a high deer density, that there's 12 inches missing between the fence. This is a 3-acre field. It's not like it's a little itty bitty field. And there's, 12 acres or 12 inches missing. So I went in there and seeded our annual clover before I knew rain was coming in between the rows, just with a little bag spreader. And it's amazing to watch. It's fast growing. It's under $40. I think it's $39.99 for 6 pounds. And that includes your, shipping to your door. And I put that down I think I put 2 or 3 bags down. I probably put 3 down because it's three acres, I think is what I did on that field. Then I did one other field that's a newer part of the farm as well. I think I did 2 on it. But the point being to watch those fields now fill in with annual clover instead of leaving it to where the deer are hammering it and then it's going to fill in with weeds has been tremendous. And now I can go in there and have a green carpet and simply drill right through it. I might not even terminate it for nitro boost because I don't care if it gets a little bit weedy. And I'll just drill right through it and create a ton of biomass. So I'm feeding the soil, I'm feeding deer, and I can do it affordably with that particular unit. Other than that, Jared, what did I leave out? I mean, we've added new dealers. I mean, there's been a lot of movement. What else is new?
You've hit about all of it right there. So besides the new dealer portion, we've added new dealers in Michigan, out east, um, Wisconsin as well. So we've been really busy just trying to make sure everybody's got their stuff in time for planting. And we've been answering a lot of questions with the chat feature and the emails to try to, set ourselves apart and just be the best service we can. So I think you hit everything, Al. I really do.
Yeah. I'd get your seed now though. I mean, get it ordered because hopefully there's some rain coming, so you're ready to roll. I mean, if guys haven't, I know I'm down to a few acres left, but to sell. But yeah, I mean, people need to be ready because it's coming and it's coming fast.
Guys, if you do not have a saddle yet from Latitude Outdoors, you're missing out, and I urge you to go check them out. We are working with Latitude again this year, and their gear is my favorite gear to hunt out of and hunt with. All over the Michigan, all over Illinois, wherever I'm going, I'm rocking the Ranger 22 backpack and my full saddle setup, sticks, the whole gambit. Right now, latitudeoutdoors.com is running an outlet collection, they're calling it. 30 to 35% off. I've never seen a discount that heavy on this stuff. I urge you to go over to latitudeoutdoors.com, check them out, and get yourself in a saddle. They go to a lot of different trade shows too if you want to try one out. I ran into one of theirs over at Jay Sporting Goods in Gaylord, Michigan. They had them on the shelf there. So if you want to get one in your hands and mess around with it first, always a cool idea. We gave away a couple at the Deer Hunter Collective the other day here in Michigan, but I'm not hunting out of anything else. Even if I didn't partner with them, I'd still be hunting out of their gear. Matter of fact, before we signed up again this year, I was like, I'm hunting out of this stuff no matter what. So it's my favorite gear to hunt out of, mobile. I'm going to set up my HB40 to be able to hunt mobile, as well as my blinds for the kids, and have this thing dialed in. Guys, Latitude Outdoors, look them up. Check out the outlet. Get yourself a saddle. I cannot wait to plant switchgrass with my Downburst seeder. The DSA 60 drop seeder from Doug over at Downburst is an awesome unit. I planted all my food plots with it last year, and I will be planting my switchgrass with it this year. Switchgrass seed is extremely expensive, and I need to dial in exactly how much I put down for my screening I'm gonna do by the road, around the food plots, and I can dial in an exact amount of seed with the Downburst Seeder DS860. Guys, check them out, downburstseeders.com. Tell them I sent you. Doug is the man there over at Downburst. Well, we got you guys, everybody on here is a dealer, is a user, so we appreciate, Jake and Andy as well.
Absolutely.
We like to partner with guys that are like us, right? They're nuts about deer and habitat and soil, and what Jake is and what Andy is in their neck of the woods is a resource. So you guys, people have questions, they don't know what to do, you guys are there for them. So without the team, it'd just be Al and I, we could never do that. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, no, we appreciate working with you guys. I mean, we only partner with people here that we believe in. So heck yeah, we love it, man.
Yeah. I wouldn't be on the ledge shouting, about Vitalize if it wasn't something that I have used and have been very successful with. So, definitely we appreciate a good quality product, and I can't wait to use some of that Clover Plus this fall when I get some of my other stuff done and ready for it. I've been ready to get some of that in, just wasn't ready for it this spring, unfortunately.
Yeah, I had speaking of, the aspect of the Vitalize thing, I had a customer call me a couple weeks ago that did the spring planting last year, and he was like, man, I had deer hammering it all year. I'm going to up my order. Can I get 5 acres worth? And I was like, of course you can. Let's get rolling on this, buddy. Because people are they're seeing that, and the one thing I've kind of seen, and I don't know about you guys, is, there's a lot of other stuff out there that's a hell of a lot cheaper. But this stuff actually works compared to, let's just say, big buck bag food plot mix that, you have no one behind you. You have no one standing on that. So they try it and they like it. It's pretty simple. So
yeah, and even for the cost, you say cheaper, but I bet if you went out there and tried to compare any of our mixes per pound, per acre, per variety. Be close, man. Be close.
I believe you. I believe you.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, especially too with the inoculant, and then you figure you're not paying shipping. Like you start adding all those things in, I think it'd be real close. And now, and then even more competitive with our dealers as well. So, but the thing too is like you highlight, and I say this proudly because I've always been like, hey, listen, there's a lot of great companies out there. Said the reason I started doing my own stuff, and then you guys know the story, but it transformed and vitalizes. I just wasn't totally happy with anything that was on the market that I wanted to plant on my farm. And that's why sometimes people are like, well, why don't you sell this or why don't you sell that? I'm like, because I don't feel confident enough in it. I'm not going to sell anything I'm not going to plant or use on my own farm. And when it came to developing these mixes and having them evolve, I mean, they started a lot simpler when I started doing things 10 years ago, to where they are now. But it would be so much cheaper to not have lab and not have American joint veg. And I mean, there are things that it would be like, especially in the fall mix, it'd be so much easier just to say, you know what, do we need fixation balanza clover in there? Why don't we just put in a lot of crimson and call it, vitalized crimson, right? I mean, you can do unique things, and not saying that's wrong, right? But we've just based this on transparency. And when you look at that and people plant it and get the results that they get, it's like, well, that's why, because we're using not just a grain sorghum, but also, well, why do we put Sudan in there? Well, deer tend not to eat it. We don't want everything walking off the field. We want to add a vertical structure. Why do you put lab in there? Why do you put cowpeas in there? Well, because we want things to climb that structure, specifically in areas that don't have such high deer densities that they eat those. But even if you have such a high deer density that a lot of stuff walks off the field, you still have species that are left, right? And they're not going to get ate. And even the American joint veg tends to be a slower grower, pretty much north of the Mason-Dixon line. And what I have found in some of my smaller fields that get demolished by deer browse, what do I end up having it left? Eagle Forage soybeans, be a heck of a lot cheaper, leave those out. I have American joint veg and I have the sorghum in Sudan. So even in an area where, and I'll have obviously some other things that are in the mix as well, but my point being is those ones continue to grow even under heavy browse. That American joint veg, I've just been so impressed with the browse pressure that it can handle, and it just keep on growing and keep on growing. But let's face it, we added that product post year one. Year one, we actually used hairy vetch, and we decided that since we used hairy vetch in the fall, we didn't want any duplication, and we wanted to give more back to our users. And again, selfishly, I wanted American joint veg for my planting on my farm. So we went out, we sourced American joint veg, and we added it to the mix, and we didn't change pricing. So I highlight that because we truly are trying to the best of our knowledge and ability to keep the ratios of our mixes and the quality and the items that are in our mix. And we're open to learning. I mean, if somebody's like, hey, you should add, pumpkins. I don't know. Like, I'd be open to trying something, but the thought is that similarly with our fall mix, I say with a lot of pride that we have 55% grains, and in an acre, so a 45-pound bag, you get 10% or 4.5 pounds of brassicas. And it's not just a purple top. It's not just a radish. I mean, we have forage brassicas in there. We do have purple tops. We do have radish. When you combine that from a ratios perspective versus, you can go to Tractor Supply and buy a small bag that's $40 and like, well, wait a second though, this is 3 pounds of seed, or something. Or you might go and look at something and go, wow, that looks like a good price. And then you start reading, you go, wait a second, it's 90% oats, right? The other thing I will say on this, and this isn't knocking any company, this is just strictly saying something that I've wanted to keep and Jared has wanted to keep. We do the best of our ability. I don't want to say never, because if something was obsolete or whatever, maybe you had a drought year, you couldn't buy the seed, but we do the very best of our ability to keep our mixes the same or similar. If we make a change, it's to better the mix. We don't go, okay, what's the cheapest grain this year? All right, we're not using winter wheat and rye. We're going to use all oats this year. And there are companies out there, and I know because people have come back to us, that they'll say, it seems like every year I'd get the mix and it would be different. Or I'd get the really good winter browsability on the mix in one year, and then the next year I didn't get it. Oh, well, why did that happen? oh, well, they decided that they got oats for a real good cost. So instead, and that's kind of, I think, unfortunate. And that's where the term gets thrown around, all these kitchen sink type mixes, right? And that is, I think, can be kind of valid if it's just this thrown together mix, and I've seen that on various things, and not even one company in particular. I've seen it with some mixes that are thrown together, and it has summertime annuals that are getting mixed with cool season annuals and sold, and somebody will post it on a Facebook group, and all the comments are like, you can't grow sunflowers in October. Like, what are you talking about? And it's just like doesn't even make sense, the mix, right? Ours are very far from that. We have tried to balance this and ratio this and spent, I don't know, hundreds of hours, but it's probably close, on Excel files, balancing things to really make it the best for, again, selfishly ourselves, but also for our customers.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's why I've got you're on speed dial for if I have any kind of, Al, what am I doing today? What am I supposed to do? That's my soil tester, soil management right there. Have tariffs hit you guys at all?
It hasn't been an issue at this point. I mean, we'll see. I think a lot of that will probably be, I mean, who knows? Socioeconomic impacts of that, right? From a fuel to transportation perspective. I mean, a lot of stuff is still grown here. Sometimes grains and stuff can come, but most stuff is still grown domestically.
Okay.
But I would say where it would be most impactful is probably like fuel. Honestly, and all that trickle impact, but it hasn't impacted us at this point.
All right. So we got plots ready. We're getting ready to do all this. Anybody got any bucks left from last year that they're going to be chasing this year that they know of?
We'll see in a few months, let them grow up. Hopefully they make it through the cars and anything else, so a little ways to go to say they're there for me, at least.
Do you have some good pictures after season?
No, actually, my place was an absolute desert, man. With all the crops getting taken off so early, they were gone, and pretty much everyone right close to me was the same until late season, and then of course I started getting quite a few. I mean, I always had a few visitors to the plots, but it wasn't anything like years past. But I lost all my structure, all my cover, around it and everything, so it was just a super super odd year through the timings off, but. Late season they came back, and one of my buddies actually came out with his son and shot a nice doe over one of the plots, and he said that in the back of the pack there was an absolute giant, like just massive, and he didn't see it until after they shot or whatever, but he swears it was out there, and I've heard from a couple people there's a few out there, so hopefully they make it.
Awesome.
I'm hoping so. That 10 point that I stalked on and blew that stalk, that was December. So he had a couple of weeks to get through, and the neighbor, I was out in his property today doing a plan at the new farm he bought, and he said there were twin 2.5-year-old 10 points the year before, and I showed him the picture, and he thinks that was one of them. So hopefully that deer's around because he was a slob, and most people give up December 19th and on here around here. So hopefully he's around. But my place doesn't hold a ton of deer right now. There's some around, but my place fills up when the pressure turns on, the crops are getting cut, and they all dump into me. So, like Jake said, it's still a little too early to tell, and I have a lot of work to do before fall. But I think it'll be good.
Okay, sweet. I'm excited. How about you, Al? You've got to have something down there. No?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I
guess mainly what I'm getting at is, did you guys have
so
some
humble
after season pictures? Is what I'm looking for. Did you
He's
guys
so-
have
He's,
I mean,
Al's not even gonna tell you.
I know.
He's so humble.
a couple deer. I mean, honestly,
a couple deer?
Yeah, a couple. There's no deer there.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I just have been so lucky. It's like a weird place. I've been fortunate to kill a couple decent deer, and it's like we have
I gotta stop you right. I gotta stop you right there. It's not luck. It's the fact that you're doing all this work. There's no. I mean, it's lucky that you're, but it's not luck. This is all prior planning because for what you do.
Yeah,
I mean,
it certainly helps, but you gotta luck. I mean, you gotta still pick the right spot,
True.
and I've been fortunate to kill some decent deer and kill a couple early, and I just have kind of jokingly said, the doe population here has gotten really high. And Ohio is a weird state in that you only get so many tags per county. So like you can kill like 6 deer in the whole state, and only one can be a buck. but like in some counties, you can only kill 2 deer. So like if you shoot your buck in that county, you can shoot one other deer. It doesn't matter if you own 5 acres or if you own 10,000 acres. Like you can kill a buck and a doe, or if it's a 3 deer county. So all of that to say, yeah, I mean, I have some deer that I'm excited to see. Obviously, the deer I killed last year was one that I've watched for many years, and was there and then came, disappeared for a little bit and then came back. And Dozer was 7.5. So it's gonna be tough to top that just from a history perspective. I don't know. He ended up having, I think, 15 or 16 scoreable points. So he was a pretty good deer. And I am more like looking for this season just to like enjoy observing deer and just shooting does. And there's one deer in particular that I do know made it. I actually almost killed him opening day last year, and he's got double flyers on both G2s. And I had him at 60 yards opening day. I thought I was going to kill him opening day. And he just wasn't quite comfortable enough. And yeah, I ended up killing Dozer the second day of season. And then I was like, well, I'm done. So we'll see. I mean, that deer was around, and I have one other deer that's really weird, like really odd. I think it's like 10 years old, and it's, I think, a velvet doe.
Really?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
And its
That's
rack
cool.
has changed. It doesn't like shed. It's almost like like those cactus buck. Like, so it used to just be like a 6. But like last year it was kind of like crazy. Like it had this big left side, and um I don't know how many points, because like off its bases it looks just like fingers coming off. And it's old, and I'm pretty sure it's a doe, because I've just never got a picture where I'm like, yeah, that's like, it's nuts. Like you never like, and I've like tried to look, normally you don't, but like it's just such a unique deer. And then I found a picture of that deer in, I think, 2021. So I've had it for a while, and like it was
Okay.
probably like, I don't know, 115-inch rack, and then so it's not like a huge rack now, but it's just such a unique deer that if I had a chance to kill that deer early, I would definitely shoot it.
Okay.
So that those are two that I would consider. But my big thing is this year, like I just want to just try to have fun, and I want to shoot a bunch of does.
Are you gonna take the boy out this year?
I don't know. He thinks he's ready. He says he's ready. If we do, it'll be probably like a really short sit, and it would just be with me. Like I'm not against, a young kid pulling a trigger. And with today's technology, you certainly, I think, can be efficient. But shooting squirrels and rabbits and groundhogs to me is a little bit different than killing a big game animal from like taking the life of something, and like I'm really um direct with him about like this is venison. Like when he's eating venison, like I want him like this is a deer. This is deer jerk. Like because I want him to really understand that like where it comes from, and not just like, oh, go kill something. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but that's just like my approach. Like I don't want him. He'll probably get bloodthirsty in his own right. Everyone kind of goes through those natural like growth as a hunter. I don't want to push it on him. Like enjoy the innocence of the outdoors, and as he gets into it. So if he comes and sits with me and we see a couple deer, and he watches me shoot a deer, or just watches some come and eat and stuff, that's cool enough for me. And if he wants to wait another year or two, I mean, he won't want to wait. But if I feel like he needs to wait enough, then I think that's the path. So just kind of playing it by ear. Again, relaxed and just, having fun. But like last year, my cousin shot a doe opening morning, and, Bryce was with us, and he tracked that deer with us. He found the blood, so introducing them slowly. Every buck I've killed over the last, well, 5 years, I think I've had a picture of with him. Even my wife had him in her belly. And we were standing there next to a buck. So like he's always been around it, but there's a little bit different when you're actually pulling the trigger.
Yeah, I don't think you got to push them, when they're super. I don't know. I've got mixed emotions. Shane's 9, and he's actually, this is going to be his first year. In fact, actually, this weekend we're heading to turkey camp, and
Awesome.
he's gonna be the shooter. So I'm kind of excited. We bought a little 410, and he's been just popping. I mean, he's a better shot than I am, I think. So we'll see how it does with with a bird. Well, we got to see a bird first, so we'll start with that. But what about you guys? Jake, you shot a heck of a bird with your bow again 2 years in a row.
3 years, yeah.
3 years. Oh, I'm sorry. Look at that. I'm shaming you.
Been
detail.
Yeah, yeah. No, been fortunate. I'm a adult onset turkey hunter. We didn't have a lot of birds around our area for all of my growing up, really. So it was just one of those things I never really got into, and decided there was a pretty good flock around my farm and the neighboring farm that was going to chase after them. But yeah, this year got a real nice bird. It was a 10-inch beard, 1.1 inch spurs, pretty good sized bird for sure.
Something that was with a bow again, right?
Yeah, yep. I told myself early on, right away, I was like, if I'm going to turkey hunt, it's only going to be with a bow. So, and I did it the hard way right off the bat. I said, no blind, just go after them. And was lucky enough to make it happen. And the second year was out with the boy. So, of course, I used the blind, so, and then this year again, I said, you know what, I'm not going to use the blind if I don't have to. And of course it was raining. So I was heading to the blind and then didn't quite make it. So it worked out though. Perfect little tree and a perfect little brush to hide behind, and got him done. He only went about, I don't know, 15, 20 yards, fell over.
Cool. That's cool. You got me beat. I'm going to shoot him in the face with a shotgun.
Yeah, that works.
It does. Jared, what about you? You been out yet, or are you third season?
I think I haven't bought a tag yet, but I'm the very long season. I used to go out early. I had a really good spot for years, a lease that I still lease for deer. I guess no, I lied. It's across the road from that. I used to lease, and I lost that piece. That was a go-to, man. You go out there and you sit at the corner of this field, and I would get there at sunrise, and I'd sit till whenever they come by. And sure enough, they come by. But now, my buddy Corey, you guys all know Corey, he's got a sweet farm that we hunt. And last year, our friend Ethan came into town. I think it was June, late May or June, very end of the season. And badass farm, dude. And we shot 3 times on 3 separate hunts by 8:15 a.m.
Wow.
All with a gun, but we shot by 8:10, 8:15, we were done. We had breakfast, we went out fishing afterwards. So we're just kind of throwing our eggs in that basket, and just gonna, take the day off of work and midweek and go chase them around. I did have a tom strut by on the 40 yesterday, and then I saw one today on that land plan and another one in the field. So I know I'm feeling it. I don't get too fired up about it like deer, but I do like to go fill that tag. It's fun to go fill that tag. So, but I'd love to get Easton out there, but he's 7, and I think if we can shoot the 350 a bunch this summer, I'll get him on a deer. I've shot a deer with him in the blind, like Al's talking about. But I'm really not rushing it. Just trying to do it. I'm so packed with all the other stuff right now that kind of takes a back seat. But I do. Seeing that time today, walking around that property, we snuck up on him. We were like 80 yards, 70 yards. I was like, oh shit, it's turkey season, isn't it? Yeah, it's feeling pretty good. So we're getting there. But probably be another 3 to 4 weeks for me, honestly, before I even try. So.
Okay. Al, what about you? Are you a turkey hunter?
I'm not. So not that I
wah.
Yeah, I mean, I like turkey, and I actually love creating habitat for them. But I have a good friend and his girlfriend are pretty much the only people who aren't like family, and Brian, who hunt my farm, are those 2 individuals, and they only turkey hunt. And they both killed toms this year within 2. And he was like, man, we were on birds all the time. He's like, I don't know, one day I think he had 8 different gobblers going off, and he's like, whatever you're doing from a habitat perspective, just keep it up, because this place is unbelievable. And most of that is just creating edge, running chainsaw, and having shutting zones. So I really enjoy wild turkey from a habitat perspective. I just don't have the time. I mean, I if I have free time, I'm either on the tractor or I'm running a chainsaw. Like, that's just my priorities right now. So someday.
There's always someday. What is it? Do it now is what I've always been told. Do it now. You don't get any younger. Well, boys, I appreciate you guys coming on tonight, catching up, just a little bullshitting with some Vitalized guys. Any last words from any of you guys?
No, I'm just excited to get rocking and appreciate you guys having me on and good to talk with y'all.
Absolutely.
Yeah, likewise, man. I love catching up with you guys. Hey, I could have went for like another 3 hours. I didn't realize it was already I mean the time went quick this evening, but yeah, I mean I'm excited to it feels like it's already spring, but it's like it's not even May yet. You know, like I don't know why. Like I think we had like such a long winter, at least I don't know, I want to talk for you guys, but it felt like winter just drug on and then all of a sudden it was like 80 degrees and everyone was like, "Oh, it's summer." And then it's like, oh,
You come up north, it's not 80 degrees, my friend.
yeah. It's like, oh, it's not summer yet. It's April 20th. You know, I think my son was swimming in his papa's pool. It was like April 23rd or something like that because it was 82 degrees.
Nice.
And but what's funny is the day dad opened the pool was snowing. So like that's just kind of the way the weather's been. It's like a lot of times people are like, we gotta plant. I'm like, whoa, hold on. It's April, so we still got a little bit of time, but it's exciting. I mean, I'm hoping to still run the chainsaw, you know, before planting time. So, and maybe even have a buddy do most of the planting this year for me, so I can finish up some NRCS contracts and be running the chainsaw. Which hate to miss out on tractor time, but that's what it pays to have really good buddies to help you out when you are limited on time and you can hammer out a bunch of work. So, as always, man, great catching up with all of you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd say, you know our buddy Matt, Andy, Matt Saul, he's fired up about planting. He's the first one to get in the ground. Matt, when you listen to this, you're gonna laugh. So, but besides that, I'm with Al. I still have a lot of work to do. We're gonna host a Habitat Day here at the 40, I think, this fall. So that's really got my butt kicked into gear to get this place whipped into shape. And I think I would urge people, if you haven't finished your timber projects yet, your land clearing projects, your food plot expansions, get that done before it gets too hot and full of mosquitoes and ticks, and you know, knock that out. Other than that, I mean, the faster you turn your farm around, the faster the success is going to be. I've always had that mindset, so I would keep grinding, and fall will be here before we know it, guys. I'm telling you that right now. So my goal is to be caught up, done with plans, done with land plans, done with habitat work, by probably, I don't know, mid-June. I probably won't be, but that's the goal. And then relax and get cameras out, get ready for fall. So time's ticking, guys. It's already May. I can't believe it.
I know. I'll be so glad when tomorrow hits and we don't have to see Justin Timberlake keep popping back up on our social media feeds. I did want one more thing I want to say is Jake and I are going to be bringing back Food Plot Fridays, sponsored by you guys, Vitalized Seed, which we appreciate. Starting a week from tomorrow. This is going to come out this Friday, a week from this Friday. So we'll be showcasing the Northern 50 and the Altered 80.
And what is Food Plot Fridays for those who don't know?
Food Plot Fridays are something Jake and I started a couple of years ago of just basically talking about what we're doing on the farm that week, you know, with our projects of taking these, you know, back these old farms that were actually agricultural farms and turning them basically into deer farms.
Awesome.
Yeah. So kind of is you know, season sensitive, I guess, of what's happening at that time or what we're monkeying around with. So pretty applicable to what people are out doing.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun seeing the different regions doing it. You know, him being south and me being north, and then you know how things are coming in. So it's been a fun project.
Definitely.
The first one needs to be pulling soil tests.
Yes, Dad. Yes, Dad.
And that's something. I mean, we could do a whole podcast on that, but I mean, I'm telling you guys, there's so many people who are just blindly throwing amendments out there, and then they end up trying to pull a test, and they're like, well, look at this. Like if I see another phosphorus that's way above, and it's like, well, why? Because they've just been throwing in a no-till environment phosphorus on top for the last 10 years. Like you just have wasted, you know, you talk about in the beginning, money or cost. Like if you added up all the dollars you wasted on throwing down P on top, like you probably could have bought another farm. Like, you know, like just take a step back and just take a soil test and spend. I mean, we use Ward Labs. You can buy them on our website. There's, I think is it Great Lakes Labs in Michigan? They do a nice job.
There's a few.
There's a couple other ones. I can't, Midwest Labs. I think they're out in Nebraska too. They do a nice job. but get a lab that gives you everything, because there's so many people who send me a soil test. They're like, hey, can you help me with this? And I'm like, I'd be kind of guessing. Like, there's no CEC, there's no base saturations. I've had some that don't even give you pH. Like, they'll give you
Oh,
like
wow.
2 or 3 things. Like, it's like an a la carte type offering. Well, if you don't really know and there's no one really to help you, it's like you're kind of in a tough situation. So that would be, whether you're using Vitalize or not, do a soil test. I test my front yard, I test my garden, I test dad's blueberry pet, like test, because where like dad has a garden and then he lives next door to me, and mom and dad live next door to me, and his garden's in the back and mine's like closer to the house just based on sunlight, and I have some trees and stuff. His pH is 5.5. Okay. Now I just put this garden in for him last fall, planted a cover crop of carbon load into it. And this will be his first year because he had raised beds and he hated it. So he's like, I want something in the ground. Okay, Dad, we'll do it. Mine is up at the house. Mine's 7.3 pH. They're 120 yards apart from each other. So keep those things in mind. And it can be critical to how you amend the soil. Don't just, a lot of times we work with a lot of gardeners, small farms. Isn't coffee grounds good for the soil? Isn't ash good for the soil? It is if it's needed, so just take a test and it'll save you a lot of time and money. I'll get off that soapbox. I apologize, but just it's something
You're
worth
good.
mentioning.
Absolutely.
That's a good reminder. I know that Kevin at Deer Hunter Podcast, he's on the Vitalize train this year, and he bought a soil test the other day, and we're going to go through that up there by you, Andy. So
Yep.
going to help him learn as well the whole process of how to do this stuff, right? So we don't want our customers wasting money. If that hasn't been relayed in this podcast yet, I'll say it now. We don't want our customers just wasting money. So
Good hot tip. We love it. Save us that money because we need it for hunting trips and ammo and arrows and all that good stuff.
well,
Guys,
the way you fling the arrows, yeah, probably.
Oh, here we go. One season. All right, boys. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. We'll start with you, Jared. Where can people follow you at? We know where you can follow you at. You're the Habitat guy.
Habitat Podcast, Vitalize Seed.
Absolutely. Al, people want to follow along. Where are you at?
Yeah, Vitalize Seed. We're on every major, well, I think every major social media, TikTok, YouTube. We're really growing our YouTube pretty quickly. For us, we're not huge, but we're getting a lot more views and exposure. And just this week, I've had a few people call that are like, hey, we really like, we're keeping videos short. We're trying some new things. So all of those major ones, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and then of course, Vitalize Seed, you can email us or text us, call us, on there, or use the chat feature. So we're excited. It's good. It's been a great year. Thank you to you guys. Thank you to all the customers, supporters. It's really exciting, and we just continue to grow and work not just with food plotters, but if you're listening to this and you're a farmer, this year alone, we've done 2 or 3 different large scale farmers from row crop to one gentleman in Southeastern Ohio. We just did a big order they're doing cattle grazing and wanted diverse cover crop mixes. And, we designed something. We worked with our partners over at Ward, consulted the animal scientists just to make sure that it fit with the protein supplements they were given or the mineral supplements they were giving the cattle before releasing them into that. Just because you do have to be a little bit sensitive on domesticated ruminants, just because they're not as diverse of eaters as say a deer. And we worked everything out, made sure it fit their needs, and came up with a plan. And they bought in and they planted about 25 acres of arm. It's pretty much a nitro boost with a couple minor tweaks I took out of it for them. And so if you're listening to this, or you're people in the area that you all know that are interested in soil health or cattle grazing or cover cropping, we don't discriminate. We love working with all of them, whether it's just soil tests or obviously putting pen to paper and getting them seed as well. So thank you all, and yeah, check us out, vitalizeseed.com.
Not just a deer food plot company. I love it. New slogan. Jake, man, where can we find you at, brother?
Jake Hunts Michigan on Instagram is pretty much the majority of what I do. So
awesome. Well, looking forward to continuing our Food Plot Fridays. Looking forward to talking to all you guys again soon. Happy planning this year, and thanks for stopping by camp, guys.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you for tuning in to the Habitat Podcast. We really do appreciate you guys coming back every week to get this awesome Habitat content. And we would appreciate it if you went to iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to this podcast, and leave us a 5-star review. That helps us continue to grow and trend in the right direction, attract new listeners, and help us provide better content in the future. Guys, we have a website full of resources. We have a blog on the website. We have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all linked up at habitatpodcast.com. Our land plan services, merchandise, decals, hats, t-shirts, and I give away a free 5-inch decal to anyone who leaves us a review on Apple iTunes. Really appreciate it. I want to thank our partners, Downburst Cedars, Vitalize Seed Company, Morse Nursery, Packer Max Cultipackers, Stealth Outdoors, First Light Latitude Outdoors, United Country Midwest Lifestyle Properties, and Exodus Outdoor Gear. Thanks again, guys. We'll be back next week with another great episode of the Habitat Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.